What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of OG55 Live. We got the Italiano. We got the one and only Mr. Seymour Duck. We got Michael Ebba, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Today, we are answering and talking all about Nickelodeon. There's no Disney today. We're talking all Nickelodeon. It's all Nickelodeon OG55. Buckle up. Let's talk about it on this episode of OG55 Live. Welcome aboard, everybody, to this episode of OG55 Live. Like I said at the top of the show, tonight we are only taking Nickelodeon-related comments and questions. So anything Nickelodeon-related, vintage Nickelodeon, current-day Nickelodeon, whatever it is, it's all Nickelodeon. Nick, Nickelodeon! There we go. But before we dive into our festivities, I'm going to introduce my fantastic panel. I got George, the Italiano.
Forget
George,
about it.
Forget about it. You know, you get straight from Jersey Shore, the Italiano. You know, George, if you could let everybody at home know where they could find you on social media, my friend.
Absolutely. Before I do, though, I should have signed up for the Jersey Shore. I would be having millions right now if I would have done that. Yes.
You need to work on your fake tan, though.
Yeah. Maybe I could call Daddy Josh. He could hook me up.
I'm sure you could.
But anyway, you can find me on social media on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. And down below, first time on a live, we got the one, the only Mr. Seymour Duck. Seymour, it's always a pleasure having you on, brother. Thank you so much for joining us talking Nickelodeon today.
Oh, no problem. Glad to be here. I'm
Absolutely.
a huge Nickelodeon fan.
Nice. Can't wait to dive into it with you. If you could just remind everybody where they could find you on social media, sir.
Oh, yeah. You can find me on X at Mr. Seymour Duck.
Everyone at home, you have got to follow Seymour on X. Amazing insight into the financials of Disney, but he dives into financials in general. You know, he talks about a lot about Nintendo and things like that as well. You must follow him on X. Amazing follow, and a friend and family of the channel. So Mr. Seymour Duck. And right over here, we got our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Mr. Michael Webber. and like we said before, Michael, if you need to dip out to save the city, just let us know. No problem at all.
Of course, OG.
Michael, if you could just let everybody know where they could find you on social media as well, sir.
Yes, of course. But before that, OG, I like to tell George, also remember, too, the hair products. Daddy Josh, you got to get those as well. Of course.
Got to get
along
that.
With the tan.
Got to get it. Got to get it so when that wind blows, the hair doesn't even move.
You want to borrow some of mine, George?
I did use some of his when we were on a trip, and I tell you what, man, that stuff is stiff.
Yeah, dude, it's basically like glue. You gotta really scrub it out. It's in there. It's in there.
but yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, Michael Ebba, and then also on Twitter /X at Michael Ebba 1991.
You got it. All right, let's dive right in. All Nickelodeon, the whole show, Nickelodeon. So we got Matthew Murr, friend of the channel here, all the way from the UK. He's asking, only major question for me. Do you think anything major would change for Nickelodeon if Viacom and Comcast were to merge? Oh man, this is interesting. Seymour, what are your thoughts on this, man? Like, what do you think if Nickelodeon and if Viacom, which is the parent company of Nickelodeon, were to merge with Comcast, what do you think would happen to that? Like the content, would it be better, worse? Where do you stand with that?
I wouldn't like it if they merge. Instead, I would, just spin off Nickelodeon to Comcast and embrace those IPs. Those I would like, because the Nickelodeon IPs back in the day when I was at the Universal theme parks were the best. Going and seeing those live shows. I remember seeing a slime tower waiting in line and my mom was getting soaking wet from all the slime that was coming out. And I was like, that stuff, those were the great memories of Nickelodeon. But they don't have that anymore. The studio's not there anymore. If they can bring that magic back, if they got the IPs from Paramount, Viacom, I'm all for that. But merging them together, I think it was just it dilutes competition, and I don't want that.
Absolutely. No, that's a great point. If you just give them the Nickelodeon IP, Universal, to their credit, they've been very successful, especially as of late, kind of fostering these IPs. We've seen it recently. Most recently with Super Nintendo World. They did very well with Harry Potter, So I think they would handle the Nickelodeon franchises very well if that was an in-house property. I think they would do very well with that,
I mean, technically they have SpongeBob on that kids, like Universal for Kids in Texas, I think.
Right.
That's for kids. Where's the adults?
Right. Exactly. What do you think, George, in terms of Nickelodeon and Comcast?
Yeah, I agree with Seymour. I wouldn't really be too big of a fan if they did that, but I felt like, speaking of how Universal used to kind of have that partnering duo with Nickelodeon, the Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando, Florida. Oh man, that was not even just the quintessential for the Universal Park itself, but for children's television, because a lot of their shows were filmed live there on location, where you have like the game shows with Guts, Legends of the Hidden Temple, Figure It Out, and then you had the comedy skits and sitcoms with All That, The Amanda Show, and what was it, Keenan and Kel, So I mean, all that was like filmed there, like on location, and it was I think, wait, I take that back. I don't know if the Amanda Show was at Universal Orlando, but I know All That and Keenan and Kel was.
Yeah, well, and all those game shows like Legends of the Hidden Temple, Double Dare, all that stuff. Yeah. I mean, that was just like my childhood. I mean, all that stuff was fantastic. I was so sad. And now, isn't it like an office building or something?
I don't even know. Seymour, do you know? Is it just deserted? I don't even know if they use it for anything.
I don't even know anymore.
I think it's just sitting there. It's a desolate wasteland of a building.
Oh, that's honestly super depressing. Super depressing. Mr. Ebba, what do you think? What would you do? Like, how would you think this would pan out if Comcast were to own the Nickelodeon IP?
So, yeah, I mean, I would love to see. I should say, if Comcast actually had the Nickelodeon IP, I honestly, I would really be on board with that. I think that would give Universal IP to like own and to like play around with. And here's the thing too: all of the old school classic Nickelodeon stuff is banger, man. Like that stuff is just the best. Great characters, fun stories. And if we could have that back in the parks again, dude, I would love that. And like make some cool modern dark rides for those stories on those characters, especially with the tech now, you can have like the fairy odd parents, have some cool magic stuff, or Jimmy Neutron and the rocket or something, so some cool stuff, right? I think that'd be really cool if Comcast got a hold of Nickelodeon for sure. I would love it.
Yeah, and that the Nickelodeon IP I think meshes very well with the Universal branding overall. I can definitely see that working. Now, doesn't interesting, Viacom, they own, I believe, the Ninja Turtles too. So that would be interesting. Now, if they purchase is it Ninja? Seymour, do you know, is Ninja Turtles under the Nickelodeon umbrella?
Yes. Yes.
So they would acquire Ninja Turtles as well. Universal. That's interesting, because I think that could actually potentially make a pretty cool ride. Because you could utilize like the Transformers ride system or something, and make like a really dope like Ninja Turtle ride. I think that'd be kind of fun. I don't know. That's interesting. The girly nerd here says, I'm an older millennial, so classic Nick to me means Double Dare, Legends of the Hidden Temple, and Hey Dude. I still remember that theme song. What about you guys? George?
So girly nerd, yes, I'm going to like really like geek out here, because yes, I was actually a fan of Hey Dude. And here's another one for you. I think it only went on for 1 or 2 seasons. This is a show that was on Nick that a lot of people don't really know about, probably only us geeks. But if you remember Salute Your Shorts.
I do remember that.
You remember Salute Your Shorts?
I do remember that, yes.
I absolutely. And it was only on for like 1 or 2 seasons, but I absolutely loved that show.
Yeah, just slit my short. I do remember that was a great show. That was a really great show. Now, do you remember the theme song to Hey Dude? I didn't honestly. Full disclosure, I didn't watch Hey Dude really, but
I do I recall the song, but I don't remember it word for word actually.
Yeah. Do you remember? Do you guys remember? This is kind of off topic a little bit, but do you guys remember the Secret World of Alex Mack?
Yes.
Dude, I used to love that show. And I had like when I was a kid, I had the biggest crush on her too. Like I was like, oh,
who didn't? Like she was actually. I think a lot of my '90s crushes came from Nickelodeon. The actress who played Alex Mack. Actually, my top one was Melissa Joan Hart from Clarissa Explains It All.
Wow.
And then she went over to the TGIF ABC for Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and
that's where George went then, right?
Yeah.
You guys remember Pete and Pete?
Yes. Pete and Pete.
Nice. Oh, Seymour, you changed your icon. That's awesome.
Oh yes,
that's awesome.
That is perfect. That is perfect. So Seymour, do you remember any of these theme songs to these like Double Dare? Or, I mean, Hey Dude, any of that stuff or?
they're classics. I think I was in the audience for Double Dare, if I'm not mistaken, or I'm getting mixed up in another. It's been so long. I'm getting old. Where there was like lots of slime. I remember when I was in the audience though. It was a fun time. I wish they brought that back. You know.
Absolutely. Nickelodeon had an edge to it back in the day. Am I right? Like it's kind of like it had this edge to it where it was like that show. You can't do that on television. And they would slime these kids and stuff. And it was hilarious. I loved it. Ebba, what are your thoughts on this? You remember any of these shows? Legend of the Hidden Temple, Hey Dude, Double Dare?
Yes. So I do apologize to the audience, to you guys, for kind of being the downer here. But although I do remember those shows, I didn't actively watch those ones. And it's nothing against Nickelodeon. It was actually me as a kid. My mindset was really anything that was like that had living people in it. I didn't bother really watching that much. Wow. I was all about like the cartoons, like the animated stuff. So if it was like real life people, or like that's not what I want to see. I want to see cartoon like fantasy stuff. So even though I know those shows, I didn't really watch them a lot. Maybe like once or twice. So I do apologize to everybody out there. I know. Boo.
No, you're good. But actually, it's kind of funny. I was kind of the same way too when I was like younger. Like for Saturday morning cartoons. Like once Land of the Lost came on, I was like, okay, it's time to turn off the TV. And Land of the Lost was that live action show with the dinosaurs. I don't know if you guys remember that. I'm old, but once that show came on, I was like, all right, it's time for me to turn off the TV. You know, the cartoons are over. So I get it. Yeah. I get it. So Now, Girly Nerd here follows up with not forgetting Nick at Night. Yes, Nick at Night was awesome. Do you all remember those hilarious promos for shows like My Three Sons and The Donna Reed Show, or The Milkman, or How to Be Swell shorts? You can find some on YouTube. The shorts, like How to Be Swell, those were really funny. They would take like old clips from like the 50s and 60s. And it would be like, how to be swell, how to open the door for the lady, and right? And they were really funny. They were very vintagey feeling, kind of mimicking the era, so to speak. Well, have you seen those, George?
I have, and actually, now I'm going to kind of go a little bit even further back.
Oh man,
because I like when I did see those. Yeah, it kind of they played also to. It reminded me. It took me back. That I don't know if Nick owned the rights to them at the time, if someone could correct me, but I also remember at one point Gumby and the Muppet Babies were on Nick.
Wow. Oh, Muppet Babies. Can you hear that theme song in your head right now?
Yes.
I can.
Yeah.
That was a great show.
Yeah, I love the Muppet Babies. And then Gumby was on Nick. I think it was on at a later time. It was like on like after like 3 p.m. into 4 p.m. like after school type of thing they used to have. But that was like the early Nick, like when I was still even watching Ren and Stimpy.
Oh my gosh. Now were you guys big Seymour, were you a big like Nick at Night person?
Yes, I remember watching the classics like Happy Days. That's like the first time I've seen Happy Days. It was on Nick at Night. Yeah, you had Family Matters, you had Family Ties, you had Happy Days, you had Growing Pains, The Cosby Show. You had everything. The Brady Bunch, like I remember it all. Gilligan's Island. Full House, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, everything was on there. All
Everything.
the classics. And the
They even
Griffith
dipped
Show, Bewitch. Beverly
dude.
Hillbillies, everything was on there. Yes.
Everything. And yeah, the older show like Beverly Hillbillies, you're right, Seymour. And then they had like I Love Lucy and Dick Van Dyke.
Mhm.
And I mean, it was just like
It was my
amazing.
excuse to stay up at night.
Right.
Watch those classics.
Exactly. What about you, Eva? You a Nick at Night person? Do you remember any of these shorts or anything like that?
Yeah, so I mean, pretty much all the ones that Seymour just listed off, I watched. But going back to like the real life people thing versus cartoons, the one show I did watch, which it wasn't a Nick at Night show, but the one I did actually like to watch was Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Nice.
That was a show I like to watch. Why? I don't know. I just did. But yeah, that was one I liked.
Nice. We got Kaylee with 2 E's in the house. She says, besides SpongeBob, what do you think is the most legendary Nick cartoon? George, the most legendary Nick. It cannot be SpongeBob though.
Right. For me, it's actually what's playing on behind me. I think it was the Rugrats for me. I think before SpongeBob came, like Rugrats was the spearhead of the Nicktoons. Like anytime that you saw the Nickelodeon characters, they always had the Rugrats characters like in the center forefront. They were like the poster child.
Right. No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. Yeah, of the Nicktoons, and then I just think it was a great show. The show lasted very long. They had several specials. They had the movies, and then they even continued that on with All Grown Up when the babies became young pre-adolescent teenagers. So.
Yeah, and then 20 years later, you see I'm Chucky with the hair and the glasses. Where is he now? Here he is.
Which is actually funny because October Halloween 1998, I was Chucky for Halloween. I actually ended up winning the costume contest because I wanted to be him for the promotion of the movie because it was coming out in theaters 1 month later. So I was Chucky, and now you are Chucky. So now
there we go. There we go. Yeah, no, I would agree with you, George. I think Rugrats is the quintessential Nickelodeon cartoon. It was almost like the mascot of the channel for a long time. But Ebba, what do you think? Besides SpongeBob, though.
So while George, Rugrats is great. I love Rugrats because I even had the PlayStation game for it. I'm gonna go with Hey Arnold. I watch that show all the time. I love the intro. I love the characters. You have like that New York City lifestyle. Where Arnold's like, he's living with all his like family in that one house, and then he has like the girl that's a bully. You know what I mean? So I just really liked it. It was a really fun show to watch, and I always made sure to watch it. But I would say a second runner up next to that would be Rocket Power. That was my other one.
Interesting. What about you, Seymour? Besides SpongeBob.
I mean, Rugrats is classic, and not the modern Rugrats that you see now on Paramount Plus that's 3D and lifeless. That Rugrats, no. The old classic Rugrats I like. But I was the weird kid back in the day, liking Rocko's Modern Life and Ren and Stimpy. I like the raunchy comedy. Like, come on, you got Rocco, Filbert, Big Head.
Yes. Oh, Rocco, I forgot about him.
And if you go back to like watch some of those clips from Rocko's Modern Life, you could kind of get a lot of those adult innuendos, that a kid wouldn't pick up on. But if you go back and rewatch it, you're like, wow, that's right. I can't believe they said that, but now I get it.
Well, that's where I feel like a lot of cartoons are missing these days. Like a lot of them don't even have that anymore. It's so watered down. I'm like, stop talking down to kids, guys. Like these kids aren't stupid. They're smart. Just treat them like they're a person, not like some little thing. Just make the cartoon. Adults will get the jokes, and kids get a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, 100%.
By the way, really quick. Michael, when you said you had the PlayStation game, was that the Rugrats In Search for Reptar?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What about
Guilty.
the golf
I had it
one,
too.
The golf one was one of my favorite ones.
Oh yeah, with the ice cream mountain. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was good.
There was a level that scared me. I think it was the one with the dolls or something. And George, you remember that?
Oh yeah, the gosh, I forget the name of it. Down in the basement.
Yes, it's down in the basement. That one was creepy, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, Kaylee with 2 E's, she follows up with Nick Doug is better than Disney Doug.
Abso-damn-lutely.
What do you think, George? You think is that true?
Yes, Nick Doug was so much better than the Disney Doug. When Disney ended up acquiring the rights for it for the ABC Saturday morning, like it completely butchered the whole notion of what Doug was. It just didn't feel like those characters. They felt diluted down. I felt like Nick kind of had a better representation of where they wanted to go with the show. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a huge Disney fan. Sorry, Disney, but I have to give it to Nick on this one.
What say you, Seymour? Nick Doug or Disney Doug?
Oh, Nick Doug all the way. I mean, like, look at Patty Mayonnaise. They ruined her on the Disney one.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Again, it was like an identity crisis. Mm-hmm. It's like they turned these characters into. It seems like when Disney got them, they all gave them buzz cuts. It's like.
Funny. Yeah, they did. What about you, Eva? Nick Doug or Disney Doug?
Nick Doug. I mean, because it's kind of back to my point before, is that, I feel like that Nickelodeon kind of had that good balance of like that, or at least the classic Nick had a good balance of that bit edgier side to their cartoons. And of course, Disney, I love Disney, guys, I do, but you're gonna come in, take these characters and like chop them up into bits and like kind of ruin them. So Nick Doug all the way.
I would agree. Nick Doug. It just when Disney bought them, it just didn't. The show didn't feel the same. And I think since then, actually, they've sold the character to somebody else, I believe. I don't think they still own Doug anymore. Is that correct, Seymour?
There was rumors to be on Disney Plus, but then nothing happened.
Wow. Yeah.
I will say though, I did enjoy Disney's Doug Live when it was at the studios. I did enjoy that. I think it's just because it was just a live show. It was fun. Right. It was entertaining. But to actually watch it on TV with the cartoon and everything, yeah, it was so much better on Nick.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Kaylee here asked, what Nickelodeon character would you want as a pet? I would say one of the Angry Beavers. I don't know. I think they were really cute. I'd like a little Angry Beaver.
I don't know about a pet, but for a short period of time, I was married to one.
Oh my god! God damn.
Oh man, that's good. That's good. Hey, just for that, you deserve a Nick.
Nick. Nickelodeon.
I have to utilize this drop a lot because when are we ever gonna be able to use it again?
Absolutely. So. After this show, they'll catch on. They'll be like, "Oh, they're using it like crazy."
Yeah, copyright.
Yeah. For me, as a pet, I actually.
Rocco?
Okay, I was either going to say. Well, it's funny that you said Rocco. I was split between the two because I would either do his dog Spunky, his little dog.
Oh,
Spunky.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I would either do him or I would actually do Cat Dog because that way you could have a twofer. You can have a cat and a dog.
Yeah, but what about the poop situation with that one? I don't know.
How actually? Can I ask you? How really do they poop? Because they're joined in the middle. They have no butt, so it's like.
Yeah, how does that work?
How does it go?
They probably just crap out their mouth, dude.
Yeah, probably.
Nothing speaks more than diarrhea, Muff.
Yeah, literally. What about you, Seymour? What Nickelodeon character?
I was about to say Cat Dog. You get 2 for the price of 1.
Exactly. 2 for the price of 1. And Mr. Eva, what character would you want as a pet?
So I was gonna say the cat dog because obviously I like cats. Obviously I got cats here. You guys seen them, and a dog because you get again 2 for 1. But if I'm not gonna go with cat dog, then I'm gonna go with probably Jimmy Neutron's mechanical dog. I forgot.
Oh gosh. Oh, that's gonna bug me.
Yeah, I forgot what the name is, but it's mechanical. If it breaks, falls apart, you can just rebuild it back up. It has cool little gadgets and stuff. It can fly, so it's like cool little scientific things you can do with it.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. And we got Cliffix in the house. Cliffix is a friend of the channel. He's got a great YouTube channel. Check him out. He does just a great amount of Disney content. You definitely want to check out what he does over there. So big shout out to Cliffix. He is definitely a friend of the channel. Bad Thought Studio, another friend of the channel, Tones, is asking here, what is the best Nickelodeon show of all time? I am going to go with, and I'm going to actually show this a little bit because some people might not remember. This is like old school Nickelodeon, but you can't. But you can't do that on television. It's got to be my go-to, like where they would like. There was all these skits and stuff, and it was just hilarious. They would slime these kids. This is one of the best shows.
I actually have to say I was slimed. Slimed.
No, you weren't.
I was slimed. They did it was like a Slime Time live tour that they were traveling. This was back in like 95 or 96, and they held it at my at the time, I think it was still called the Civic Arena, but they had like the costume characters of Ren and Stimpy and the Rugrats, and they actually were allowing people to come down and get slimed. And at like 5 and 6 years old, it was like I wanted to be slimed, you know. So it's like,
and
yeah.
what does it feel like? Is it like
it's cold, and it has like this very wet gelatinous feel to it, almost like But it did wash off very easily, though, I will say. So whatever they used, it's like you get rinsed off like after the fact. You get slimed, and it just rolls right off of you.
Oh wow,
that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Well, slime was like a big thing in the 80s, even into the 90s. Like I remember I had like ooze, like I would collect like the Ninja Turtle toys, right? Mm-hmm. And they would have like little canisters of ooze.
I had those too.
Yes. Oh my gosh, they don't make slime anymore. I don't see that anywhere.
No,
it's crazy. So George, what's your favorite show on Nickelodeon of all time?
Of all time.
Of all time.
Of all time. See, that's a tough one because I don't know. See, with Disney, I can kind of pinpoint to say, you know, like my all-time favorite animated film of all time is Beauty and the Beast, hands down. You know, but I know Kaylee disagrees with me completely. That's her least favorite Disney movie. So it's, but with Nickelodeon, it was funny because I watched everything like as a group. Like when I thought of Nicktoons, I didn't really think one over the other because it was just like never really had to like stop watching one to watch a new one. It just kind of added on to my whole roster. But again, I have to go with the Rugrats. I don't know what it is. Like, if I had to pick and choose, I loved Rocko's Modern Life. I loved Cat Dog. I loved Hey Arnold. Rocko is a very close second. Okay. Very close second, but I'd have to. Well, no, actually, now that I'm thinking actually Rocko's number one.
Really?
Because of those little adult innuendos. Okay. That it was like that, you know, it's like, don't judge me, folks. I'm just going to say this on here now. Even like as a young kid, yes, I watched South Park. Yes, like that was me. But hey, guess what? I turned out great. You know, I don't curse. I don't come out with dirty, raunchy, sarcastic comments. You know, just saying.
Oh, George, never, dude. Come on.
Never.
I'm a good old Catholic boy.
Exactly. Actually, you got to be honest, George. Your favorite thing on Nickelodeon was Melissa Joan Hart. Let's be real.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Let's be real. Seymour, what was your favorite show on Nickelodeon of all time?
I'm actually going to pivot here and go to a different direction. My favorite show is actually All That.
Oh.
And one thing I liked about it is that it was like SNL for kids. And all these comedians could start off on that show. We don't get that anymore. I think it was the biggest mistake canceling that show. You should have just kept it on going for lifetime because, like I said, it's like the SNL. All these actors, like these young actors started in Nickelodeon, All That, like Kel, Kenan Thompson, Nick Cannon. Like, I remember Lori Beth. I remember Josh Server. Like, I remember all these young comedians who started in that show.
And Seymour, even in the later seasons of All That, Gabriel Iglesias.
Mm-hmm. Jamie Lynn Spears.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Foyle,
After the fact you said All That, immediately the first thing that popped into my head was the theme song.
Yeah, All That. I'm not going to even try to sing it, but it was good. It was good. Actually, fun fact about almost a year ago now. I think it was around May or June of last year. We went to this place. It was like a I don't know what we call it, like a little diner or something in like Calabasas, and Lori Beth was there. She was there at this little diner, and I actually said, "Hey, Lori Beth, I was a big fan of yours, yada yada yada," and she was very very sweet. But yeah, I ran into her, and she looks the same pretty much. I mean, she looks exactly the same.
It actually really is the truth, because I've seen like recent of how you said with Lori Beth and Danny Tamborelli and all that, where obviously they got like older, but they still have that childlike innocence to them. Like where you look at them, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like time still kind of stood still in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where Good Burger came from.
Yes. Now, Seymour, did you ever watch the recent one, the sequel?
A little bit, yes, but it's not as good as the classics. But the thing with all that is that you could always replace the cast if it gets boring.
Exactly.
They did that with SNL, right? And they just just hire a new cast if it gets boring, and find out if the audience likes them or not. But they have the data sets, they have all the audience scores to see what they like. But yeah, they should have kept it. Even if one season was bad, 2 seasons are bad, like you should have kept it. It was like a standard for them to have that in. You get the live concert from musical guests. You get you don't get good comedy shows anymore. Not even sitcoms itself, right? You don't get those anymore. And Nickelodeon pushed it to the edge. When I was a kid, all the girls like Disney. Well, in my area, all the girls like Disney and all the boys like Nickelodeon, right? And if everyone would make fun of you like Disney if you were a guy. It was just, even though I was a fan of Disney, Nickelodeon was the thing back then for me. Yeah,
that's true. That's very, very true. It absolutely was. And even Disney has sort of dropped the ball too on these variety shows, because they had Mickey Mouse Club, the 90s Mickey Mouse Club, which I was a huge fan of that. And it was kind of like an all that kind of show with the dance numbers and the skits and the comedy.
And OG, come on. I think you're right there with me. Kerry Russell.
Oh, dude.
Just saying.
Kerry Russell was my bias on that show. The big curly hair. She was just, amazing. Fun story, in what was 94, I believe, or 93. They had the MMC is what they called them back then, right? They were touring the country, but they had a special arrangement with Target. So my mom took me to our local Target where they were going to perform outside in the parking lot, but it was pouring rain, so they never performed. But so instead, what they did was they brought the MMC cast into the Target, and we got to meet them, and they were signed autographs and things like that. And so I have a picture with Kerry Russell. I gotta dig that picture up. You
got to, bro. I want to see it.
Oh, dude, I have a Mickey Mouse Club jacket. I love it, like a varsity jacket.
Like a Letterman jacket.
Yes, it's a Mickey Mouse Club one, and I'm chilling with my arm around her, dude. It's so dope. It's so dope. I gotta. Well, I'll find it. I'll find it. Ebba, what is the all-time best Nickelodeon show?
That's good. For me, can I do a tie or no?
Yeah, of course, man.
So for me, it's gonna be a tie between SpongeBob and the Fairly Odd Parents.
Okay.
I say that because I watched both of those shows religiously, constantly. I would watch both shows on all of the what's the name for it when they have it on all day?
Marathon.
Marathon. I will watch those all day, eating my Cheetos, drinking my soda, And what I liked was with SpongeBob, right? Because SpongeBob has really become this kind of cultural phenomenon, especially with all the memes and everything. And and hopefully we can talk about the ride that they kind of announced at the IAPA Expo for last year. But I love the characters. They're all different personalities, different stories. There's also kind of adult humor that's in there. The Fairly Odd Parents, I love the theme of the wishes and the fairies and whatnot, and then the mean the mean babysitter Icky Vicky, and Clef Chin Wonder. I loved all that stuff. But yeah, those are the two shows I watched the most. So I would say those two would be my top.
But it's actually funny when you mentioned the Fairly Odd Parents, because a lot of times when I watch a show, I go deep into research, behind who does all the voices and everything. And I thought it was interesting that the voice actress who does the voice of Timmy Turner is actually the same voice actress who does the voice of Baby Dill in the Rugrats. She
Oh,
does
wow.
the baby
Yep.
sounds.
Nice.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Now, contributor and friend of the channel, we got Slimer. Slimer here says, you can't do that on television. Pinwheel, Double Dare, and Eureka's Castle were my introductions to Nick. Slimer and I are very close in age. Pinwheel was one of my favorites too, and I still remember the theme song to that. Pinwheel, pinwheel, spinning around. It was a fantastic show. It's probably on YouTube. I don't really know, but that was a fantastic show. Do you remember that, George? I know that you're not quite
Pinwheel.
my age, but...
Pinwheel, I think, was like right before my time, but Double Dare and Eureka's Castle, I was, especially Eureka's Castle. Like I was like a huge fan. Like for anyone who hasn't seen Eureka's Castle, that's how I got introduced to, and I forget his last name, Noah. I forget his last name. He played Magellan, the green dinosaur, before he became Bear from Bear in the Big Blue House.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. What about you, Ebba? Do you remember any of these shows? Probably not Pinwheel. I think Pinwheel was way before your time, but maybe you watched it. I'm not sure.
I remember Double Dare. I mean, at least the show itself, but I don't remember actually watching any of these shows. So, I can't speak on this, so I do apologize.
Yeah, you're good. And Seymour, you remember? You can't do that on television. Pinwheel and all that good stuff.
I don't remember Pinwheel. Upon searching at it, it came out in 1977.
It's an old one. Yeah.
I wasn't born then, so. But yeah, I remember all the other shows. Double Dare. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
I think Double Dare was
great.
one of my favorite ones, actually. Yeah, as well.
Love Double Dare.
Yeah.
Double Dare, and even Double Dare 2000 when they updated it. That was a great show.
It's awesome. And actually, I'm going to skip ahead real quick because this is actually tied to what we're just talking about. But Slimer continues with, did you guys know Mark Summers, who was the host of Double Dare, suffered from crippling OCD?
Yes.
I did not know
actually, I watched him. He did, was it Dr. Phil? He was on one of the shows where literally his wife and his daughters, like the house had to be, you couldn't touch it. If one thing was out of place, and when I say out of place, I mean something could have been turned to the left when it should have been turned to the right.
Right.
He would completely spaz out. It almost, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, Slimer. I don't know if it actually affected his. I mean, it affected his marriage, but I don't know if he. They did get divorced, or if it almost ended his marriage. But yeah, it was a high end OCD. Yeah.
Those the OCD, it can be crippling, and it can go so far beyond even just like the cleaning stuff. They tend to be like hypochondriacs, right? Like they obsessive compulsive disorder. So they have an obsession, which would be their health, and then the compulsions, which will be the Googling of the symptoms and what have you, right? It's a never ending thing, and it's just it can be very debilitating. And I did not know that about Mark Summers. Now, do we know if he got help for that? Is he better now? Or
he did get help. I believe if I'm not wrong, I think it was he spoke to Dr. Phil, and I think he did get help. As far as I know, I think he is better. I don't know if he's fully cured of it, but I do think that he is getting help for it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And speaking of Mark Summers, on top of him doing Double Dare, he also did a show called What Would You Do? I don't know if
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember that. What would you do? I remember that.
What would you do?
There you go. See, George can sing. Love Low here says, will there be a classic Cartoon Network boomerang discussion next? Ooh,
hey,
that would be fun.
You know what? Hey, if you request it, we'll do it.
Exactly. No, exactly. I'm so down for that. I'm absolutely down for that. That'd be fun. Really, really fun. Now, I'm going to have to punt this question over to you gentlemen, because I, full disclosure, never watched Drake and Josh. George, your favorite quote?
Oh, good Lord.
Or do you have one? Did you
I don't
watch
know
the
if
show?
I did watch Drake and Josh. Yes, I think actually Drake and Josh is like the last show that I actually watched while it was still new before it just kind of and because I love them two working together like off of the Amanda show and everything. I don't know if I actually have a favorite quote.
It's a tough one.
I just enjoyed basically anything that Josh Peck said. Like he was like so freaking hilarious. I think actually growing up, I kind of got a little bit of my comedy style from him.
Wow.
Just of how he acts with his mannerisms. So
He-
probably
he-
like anything that Josh Peck said or did, I just kind of like lean towards.
So Josh Peck was part of your origin story, George?
Basically, yes.
Now, Mr. Duck, do you have any favorite quotes from Drake and Josh?
Yes, I mean, hug me, brother. That's my favorite one from
There
Josh.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice. Any other favorite quotes from them that you, off the top of your
That's
head?
the only one that I can remember.
What about you, Ebba? Any favorite quotes? Did you watch that show?
You know what's funny is that before doing the show, I didn't realize how many live action human shows there were on fucking Nickelodeon. so here's say I did watch Drake and Josh like I would say on a regular basis, but I would catch it when it comes on here and there.
Cool.
So I don't have a favorite quote, but I did like the characters they play. And actually, when I would watch the show, it would actually kind of make me in like to this weird kind of self-conscious mode because when I was growing up, I was never like a ladies person or anything. So is it Drake the one that always got the chick?
Yeah.
Yeah, Drake. So I always felt like I was Josh because I always felt like I was not. I'm not saying he's ugly, but like the one that never got the chick, right? So I always felt like him, and like, man, I wish I was like Drake getting all the chicks and stuff like that. So I was always kind of like jealous all the time when when I would see him with the chicks and stuff. I'm like, damn, why can't I do that? You know?
I think it's actually kind of funny because I acted like Josh, but I got the chicks like Drake. It's like it was like
you were like the hybrid.
I was the hybrid.
And what is it with guys named Drake with women that go nuts? Like the rapper Drake gets a lot of women too. Like it's just like a Drake thing, I guess.
Maybe. I guess
I have no idea.
Now, really quick, speaking of that topic, I think it's also kind of funny when you had, and this came from both shows of Nickelodeon, where you have like these comedy duos, like Drake and Josh and Keenan and Kel, where they said that there was like these big fallouts between them and they stopped talking for years. And then when they kind of get back together and they discuss it, they're like, yeah, we had like differences of opinion but it wasn't as how projectile that the fans took it because they're so used to seeing them together.
Right.
And it's like, it's like, oh my gosh, they had to have a big fallout because they can't go and do stuff on their own. It's like, I think that's kind of funny.
That is. Now, ClickNet here, friend of the channel. You can't talk about Nickelodeon without us. ClickNet is awesome. Friend of the channel. Yeah, one day, maybe ClickNet, if you want to come on, we can do a Nickelodeon show with you. Definitely.
We're going to have to do, we're definitely going to have to do another Nickelodeon show because I have some peoples contacting me that they would definitely would want to be a part of this conversation.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll definitely do a follow-up for sure. Kaylee with 2 E's says, could Universal benefit from reopening Nickelodeon studios, even if it's a museum sort of thing based on the nostalgia factor?
Oh, man, that would be...
Mm-hmm.
You know what? And honestly, if they did that, if Universal did that and they opened it up as a museum, and I'll even say whether they included it in theme park admission or if it like as a separate type of thing, like how they do the Walt Disney Family Museum or something.
Right.
That would be so banger.
Oh, it would be banger. And then they can do like what you did as a kid, George, right? Like they can upcharge you if you want to get slimed, Things like, oh, come on, Universal. That's money on the table. What do you think, Seymour? Would you be down for this?
100%. They, like I mentioned before in the at the beginning of the show, that like if they got Nickelodeon back in the parks, that the nostalgia, everything about it, I think it would benefit the parks and the fans. So this I'm 100% for it.
Yeah, me as well. Absolutely. Ebba, what do you think about this? Reopening Nickelodeon studios, even if it's just like a museum kind of walkthrough thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with both the gentlemen there. Because especially at a time now when there's like a lot of nostalgia and bringing older things back to current times, I definitely can see Universal, banking on that, and that will make a lot of money. and I would love to see it. You know, whether it's a walk through museum or an attraction or a land, bring that back to Universal.
100%. Kiki and Luca is in the chat,
Luca.
and Kiki and Luca never disappoints with the comments. I miss George. I miss George's militant Black Panther look.
I tell you, Kiki and Luca, the next live show for sure, I will be back in my attire. I decided to go a little bit sticking to theme for Nickelodeon, going orange. So I am tonight, instead of a militant Black Panther look, I decided to go for an oversized Applejack. So
there you go. And George, orange. You glad you wore that shirt?
Oh my God.
Aren't you glad? Actually, I have quite a few comments on George's style and swag, so I'll hit all those now while we're on the topic.
yeah, might as well.
Slimer here says, George, keep the beard, man. It looks good on you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There you go.
Especially love that. I especially love when I have the 5 o'clock shadow. Like when it's
Yeah.
just coming in. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you know what? Can I just say how fucking fast that shit grew back, dude? You just
Yeah.
shaved that like a week ago, and
Uh-huh.
it's like already like.
Yeah. It's
George is high tea, man. He grows it like within like 10 hours. It's already a full grown ass beard.
yeah. It's like it's out of control.
It's out of control. Oh, and we got. Oh, hold on one second. Where am I? I just lost my spot. Okay, hold on, everybody. I got maybe in the house, and you know what happens when we have maybe in
Of course.
the house. Here we go.
Cause I'm that girl that drive you crazy, but you're killing me alone. Got you thinking maybe alone. Got you thinking maybe alone. Got you thinking maybe.
Maybe is officially in the house, and she is commenting on George's swagger, saying, "Ooh, I love that George is dressed for the occasion."
Thank you, maybe.
Yep, rocking the orange. Aren't you glad? Aren't you glad? And we got one more. We got one more style comment from Kaylee with 2 E's, an orange shirt and a green shirt for Nickelodeon. There you go.
There we go.
There we go. Absolutely. Okay, let me go back up a little bit. I don't know if I missed any. I think we might have actually covered. Let me see. Yeah, I think we're actually good on that. I keep going down here. Let's see here. Kiki and Luca. OG looks fine, better than any woman I know. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But Kaylee here says, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Yay. Let's see here. If we have any questions here. ClickNet here says, some of the things we do on ClickNet have been our way of paying tribute to old school Nickelodeon, mainly the 90s. Yeah, Nickelodeon was king of the 90s. Absolute king of the 90s.
I have to say, this could just be me because I was a kid of the. I'm sorry. Everything was good in the 90s.
It was.
Like everything was like the world just seemed like it was in a, even though it wasn't, but to me it was like everything was like in the perfect spot, and then it's like,
And
then the world just turned to shit afterwards.
Yeah, so pretty much after the 90s, like everybody just became a bunch of pussies. So I mean, that happened.
There you go, right? Pretty much, Eva. Pretty much.
Basically, yeah.
Kaylee here says, OG, not quite slime green, but we'll let it slide. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Let me see here. We got maybe in the house. Happy Friday and happy March. That's true. First day of March. Final countdown for Ghostbusters Slimer. You guys excited for Ghostbusters?
I can't wait. Can't wait
yeah.
to see that.
Dude, it's gonna be awesome.
It's coming. We got some green hearts from Slimer. And let me see here. We got maybe showing Seymour some love. Also, Seymour's first live. Yeah, Mr. Duck. So, yeah, definitely show some love for Mr. Duck. Yeah, we love Mr. Duck. And loving the Nickelodeon slime duck icon. That is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Kaylee here says, Nickelodeon really went downhill after, I would say, 2011. Couldn't name a program on there now. Yeah, no, I couldn't. I can't either.
Yeah, me either. I don't
Just
watch
SpongeBob is really the only thing that I could really think of. I mean, then they did like those reboots with Zoe 101 and iCarly. And,
Right, yeah.
But I mean, I never watched
started with Zoe 102. It's so bad.
Oh, come on, Seymour. Go for it, man.
It's bad. I want a refund. You guys pay for it.
Yes. Okay. Funny story. When I was a kid, because I've told the story many times before, where I wanted to get into animation when I was a kid, right? So I interned at Nickelodeon Studios in Burbank for a little while, and this was I'm telling you guys, this was a long time ago. This is pre-SpongeBob. This is before SpongeBob was even out yet, right? And I'm walking through the studio, Xeroxing stuff like an intern, just being like the bitch boy, basically, right? Just sitting there on the Xerox machine all day long, And I'm looking around, and there was like this one part where they had like the cardboard stand-up of the new character, SpongeBob, And I look at this thing, I'm like, this thing is gonna flop so hard. Like this thing, what is this? Like a little sea sponge or whatever? This is gonna flop. Hey, he proved me wrong. He absolutely proved me wrong.
But you know what though? I think that just goes to show that how well they executed that.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, it's kind of goofy. But the episodes, I mean, SpongeBob has lasted like it's multi-generational at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, big time. Absolutely. And Kaylee here says Nickelodeon really went downhill after I say 2011. I think I already read that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But no, she's right. I don't. No.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then she continues, sad how Nickelodeon really put all their eggs in one basket with SpongeBob. Love the sponge, but too bad they don't put much effort into any shows as of the last decade. They've really gone downhill. Mm-hmm. And Nickelodeon has just really lost their cultural relevance.
Yeah.
I mean,
sorry.
Go ahead, Emma.
No, sorry. I was going to say, I feel that same way with Sonic and Sega. Whereas Sega is like really latching onto Sonic, but they're not really doing anything with their other IPs. The same way Nickelodeon is latching everything onto SpongeBob, but they're not doing anything with Hey Arnold, with Doug at the moment, with Cat Dog, like any of those other stuff. Like they're all just kind of just been like left to the wayside.
Yeah, I feel like the only thing right now that's kind of even somewhat on the radar for Nickelodeon, obviously SpongeBob. SpongeBob never left. You know what I'm saying? And Ninja Turtles, I think, are pretty prevalent right now. They've done like a lot of movies and things like that. Where different, like various movies with different styles of animation. It's still in the pop culture kind of awareness, but everything else, like she said, I can't name a single show either. Mm-hmm. I really can't. I really can't.
Maybe that's why. Like the tradition, like the jingle of the Nickelodeon. It's like I wonder, like even how relevant that is to kids nowadays. You play that to a kid, would they even know what that is?
Maybe that's why I'm able to play it and not get copyrighted. Because even Nickelodeon is like, it doesn't matter anymore. Just use it. It doesn't matter.
Nick, Nickelodeon.
And Tones from the Bad Thought Studio says, when is Clark Kent, aka Seymour, going to reveal his true identity? He actually is. That's a in real life pic that he has on his profile.
If you go on X and click ID verified, it's right there. It says I'm ID verified, so I'm a real duck.
There it is. He's a real duck. Exactly.
Yo, Seymour, stop hiding that hot ass self behind that picture, bro. Like we all want to see the handsome Seymour. Come on.
Well, we're seeing that's his pick right there. That's his in real life pick. ClickNet here says the first shows we remember watching watching Nickelodeon were Blue's Clues and Rugrats. Oh yeah. What were the first Nick shows you remember that you first tuned into the channel? Yeah, mine were like, as Seymour was saying, like Pinwheel was 77, and I was a kid in the early 80s, so that was still running. That was like some of my earliest memories was Pinwheel, Danger Mouse. You guys remember Danger Mouse?
I don't recall Danger Mouse.
I'm aging myself so bad right now. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Pinwheel and Danger Mouse for sure. Oh man, what else? You can't do that on television, so yeah. Yeah. What about you, George?
I think for me, everything like kind of came at once. Like I remember the Rugrats, Rocko's Modern Life with, I would say like that's like the early 90s. I remember. And then kind of moving into like 94, 95, I started watching Nick Jr. with Face. I don't know, like he was like the host, the master of ceremonies. He goes on Nick Jr. But I used to, speaking of Nick Jr., I used to watch Blue Clues. Right. The other show, Gullah Gullah Island, which was actually also filmed down at Universal Orlando. I used.
Nice.
Oh man, I love that show. It was like, come and let's play together in the bright sunny weather. Let's all
I
go
remember
to
that.
Gullah Gullah Island. Gullah Gullah.
Yeah.
Binya binya.
Oh my God, I remember that song. Now that you mention it, absolutely. What? That's crazy. You remember that song, Eva, or no?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember that song.
Oh man, that's wild. What about you, Seymour? What would be some of your first Disney? Nick shows.
I remember Rugrats. That was the classic staple of Nickelodeon that I remember. I was a huge fan. I had the Reptar T-shirts, the Reptar bars.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Eva? First memories?
I mean, I sound like a parrot, but yeah, Rugrats. Again, because I had the game as well, so the PlayStation 1 that came out a long time ago. But yeah, so Rugrats, and then I think when I was in, was it elementary or middle? I think late elementary. I was like what, 7, 8. Rocket Power was the other one.
Nice.
So I would say Rugrats and Rocket Power.
Okay. Nice.
Oh, I remember Cousin Skeeter.
Oh
You
yeah,
remember that show?
Cousin Skeeter.
I don't know how old that one is, but I just remembered it.
That was 1999, and then I think didn't they do a crossover with Cousin Skeeter and Keenan and Kel?
I'm not sure.
Like I thought they did like a TV special or something. But I do remember. God, I could hear that theme song too. I loved like the 90s, like that hip hop kind of swag to the theme songs.
Every theme song was like rap in those days. It was great.
Yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic. As a rap fan, I loved it.
Yeah.
Girly Nerd here says, if you guys were ever on Double Dare, how well do you think you'd fare with the physical challenges? I'd fail miserably. Girly Nerd, I would be right with you, failing miserably. I would suck at that. What about you, Seymour? How would you do on this? Could you do Double Dare, or would you be failing like me and Girly Nerd?
Notice, and then I'll go to the gym.
There you go.
I think I'll do well as long as I go to the gym.
Okay. What about you, George?
I think I'd do okay. I don't think I would be superb. I think it would depend on what the game was or the obstacle course. I mean, if there's certain things, I will say I'm a bit flexible. But I think
George always has to go there, right?
Yeah. So I'd say I'm okay. I think I would do okay. I wouldn't say superb, but I think I'd do okay.
There you go. What about you, Emma?
Yeah, no.
Well, you're Spider-Man, so of course you're gonna kick ass, bro.
I mean, yeah, that's like the most obvious answer, OG. Actually, no. Honestly, I think I would do really well. I've always been the person who is really good at jumping on things and jumping off or going through stuff, things like that, right? I think I would do pretty decently, Okay. And also it's fun because I also really love things that are like obstacles where you have to physically get around it. I've always liked those type of challenges.
Yeah.
Nice. And you have a joke?
I was just gonna say I could picture Ebba too, like just being like so competitive, like the other team is in his way. He's like, "Move, bitch!" It's like,
fuck out the way.
Oh man, on your left. Oh, that's great. Kiki and Luca here says, I can't believe how much stuff you guys know. You do Nickelodeon, financial news, K-pop. I wouldn't be surprised if you were on Jeopardy answering questions about 16th century literature. Well, that's next week, Kiki and Luca. That's next week. But would you say, George, that we make it look easy?
I think honestly we do cover a lot of stuff. I think we don't even try though. It's just I guess everything that we kind of grew up with, and it just falls to the waistline, so to speak, where it's just like we don't think, we just do. It's when we love to be entertaining. We love to bring you guys the facts, the news, and everything. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now you missed my cue though, George. I said, do we make it look easy?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Jeez, Louise.
There we go. All right, here we go.
Oh God, even Maybe said it. And she's like, George missed his cue. I don't know. Like, I'm so on top of it. How the heck did I miss that?
I don't know. Kaylee here says, "Oh my God, how was it working on Cat Dog?" Yeah, I was actually there when Cat Dog was. Was I there for Cat Dog? Hold on, maybe not.
Cat Dog, I think, was 98, 99.
Yeah, I think I was. I think I was there for Cat Dog.
That's so cool.
But yeah, I mean, my involvement over there was pretty much Xeroxing, so it wasn't like anything spectacular. I was Xeroxing stuff pretty much all day long. But the people there were really nice, and they invited me to their Christmas party, even though I was just the intern. So that was kind of cool. Actually, it was kind of weird too, like back then, and I'm sure they don't do it anymore because, like, in California, smoking is like so taboo now. Yeah. But their Christmas party, they'd have this big like Christmas tree, right? And the ornaments were packs of cigarettes, and you could take them off the tree and smoke them or whatever. But I thought that was kind of weird. But yeah, it would never fly nowadays. Maybe
I think it would be kind of funny, like if everyone did that around the Christmas tree, and they have a Clark Griswold Christmas Vacation where the tree just goes up in smoke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't smoke the tree. Maybe here says, I would die for a Ninja Turtles ride. I love my boys. Yes, a Ninja Turtles ride could be so badass. And I think Universal is the right company to handle that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, they have like that little bit of an edge to them. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Do it like Transformer style. You know what I'm saying? Let me see here. Kaylee here says the Hey Dude theme song goes hard. I don't remember it though. Do you remember it?
As I said, I remember, but I can't. Oh gosh, that's gonna bug me now.
Yeah, I remember the intro where they had like the kids' faces with horseshoes, the whole thing. I don't remember the song though. Man, I want to play it so bad, but I know they're gonna copyright me on that one. Maybe here says, "Oh my God, Seymour's pick. I'm crying." She goes on to say, "Now I'm just picturing that little duck talking. That is Seymour. That is Seymour duck. I love that icon, Seymour. That's awesome. Cool. Really, really awesome." Kaylee says here, Clarissa explains it all. Loved her. So you and Kaylee have something in common. Melissa Joan Hart.
There we go.
Melissa Joan Hart. And she goes on to continue. Another banger theme song was the one for Doug.
Oh
no! Now,
I also loved, like, in between the show, they would do like this little chicka-pa-pa.
Yeah,
yes.
It was weird. Like that sound was really satisfying for some reason.
Yeah, always made me tingle.
Tingle. Right? Exactly. Did they change the theme song when Disney bought it or no? Was it the same song?
It was the same song, but they kind of amplified it a bit, like where it was more. I'm trying to think of how to describe it. It had like the same like beat to it, but they just kind of added some extra tone to it. I don't know. I'm not a music major, but so I don't know the techno terms for it.
Yeah. And Rogue Attraction here says DuckTales and Tailspin goated opening songs. Oh, Rogue.
Yeah.
Jeez, come on. Like that was like, man, dude. I could still kick myself for not going to 90s Night at Disneyland. I wanted to so bad.
DuckTales, Tailspin, Gummy Bears, that theme song.
Gummy Bears. I'll sing that whole thing. I can't.
Dude, I'm telling you all those songs were amazing.
Yeah.
Really, really amazing stuff. And those songs, to its credit, you never forget those songs.
Oh, no, you don't. You
know, you never forget those songs. Rogue continues, Pete and Pete and Salute Your Shorts. Nintendo had great theme songs. Really, really cool. Yeah. Really, really cool. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. I'm kind of losing my spot here. Oh, Rogue continues with Nick at Night gave birth to TV Land. Yes, it did. It did give birth to TV Land. What's going on with TV Land now? Is it still classic TV? I haven't
actually went on it recently. I don't really know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure either. And Kiki and Luca here says Married with Children was the best show ever. And yes, it was. That show.
You can never get that show on television now. Like it was like Married with Children and The Simpsons came like at the perfect time where it was like, oh man, classic television.
That show was so freaking funny, dude. I used to love Married with Children. Seymour, did you ever watch that?
Married with Children, yes.
Yeah. What did you like?
I think there's rumors of an animated version coming out soon.
Really?
Because I think that's the only way they're going to get away with the jokes.
Oh, that's interesting. And would they utilize the same cast and just have them do voice work, or do we?
Yeah,
know?
and I think it's them older though.
I'd be somewhat okay with that, checking it out if it was the actual original cast that did the voice. Ed O'Neill, Katie Seagal.
But I mean, like they had the best jokes though in the show.
Oh, they did.
Especially
Oh my
in
gosh.
in Al's job at the shoe shop. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know it. Yes, definitely.
Go on YouTube, watch the compilations.
Yes.
And have a laugh.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
I won't give like any of the thing, but I'll just do his little part. Like, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're gonna fall through the floor.
It's great.
I'll leave it at that.
and then didn't he have like a little club with the guys? No ma'am, the No Ma'am Club or something like that. And Al Bundy was fantastic.
That was
He
great.
is such a national treasure. It's not even funny. Maybe here says Ebba was taking notes during Declassified. Had to master how to ask the girls out. Is that true, Ebba?
Pretty much, bro. Like, dude, like even to this day, there's still times I can think back and I'm thinking, man, I could tell that girl was not interested. I could have like done something with that, but that time's already way gone past by. But yeah, I mean, I was not the ladies' man in school. Actually, growing up, I was actually a fucking loner. So there's that. But yeah, that. I mean, here's the. I don't even know if those tips even really helped. They didn't. So.
And Kaylee here says my favorite Rugrats episode was when they went to Las Vegas. I don't remember that one. Do you remember that one, George?
Las Vegas.
I
don't remember that one. I know. I remember the road trip where they were trying to get to the Grand Canyon, but they were having like issues, and they go to the Clam Canyon. That was like at the end. The Clam Canyon.
Oh, I remember now.
Yeah.
The Clam Canyon for the Clam Slam.
The one where they go the water park. I think that episode. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't remember that. Maybe he says Rugrats Go Wild had me in a chokehold as a kid. Rugrats Go Wild.
Yes, that was the crossover movie with them and the Wild Thornberrys.
Oh, okay. And
that show was okay. Like I would watch an episode here or there, but I was never like a huge fan of the Wild Thornberrys.
My problem with the show was, okay, I love the concept of it, right? Like being able to talk to animals and stuff, that's really cool. My problem was the character designs. I didn't like them at all. None of them. And
yeah, that's weird.
And if I'm someone like, okay, if I watch a show and I don't like the character designs, I'm not going to watch the show. So I didn't like any of them. They were all ugly and hideous. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to watch this show.
What I think is actually funny is the actresses who did the voices of Eliza Thornberry and her sister Debbie, Lacey Chabert, and I forgot the one who does the voice of Debbie, but she played the punk sister to the bully in Boy Meets World. But them two are like in real life, they're actually like gorgeous. So like I think it's like so funny that they played like these kind of like these funky looking characters. Yeah,
it was just odd. I was like, why would you draw characters like that? I don't know. As I growing up, I was really critical of like styles of like designs for characters, and even now, like if I'm watching a show and I like the character looks like, I'm not gonna watch that shit. I'm just like, okay, I don't like it. I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah, well, some of those Nicktoons were was that studio Klusky Kuspa or something. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't pronounce the name, but they did have a weird style. The Real Monsters was from that studio.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of had like that sketchy look to it, right? And the Thornberrys, I think, were also from that studio. Even Rugrats were from them, actually, believe it or not. But I think it worked with Rugrats quite a bit.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like as the seasons went like further into the Rugrats, it seems like the animation became more cleaner.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Kiki and Luca, Angry Beaver, George's ex-wife. Oh, George. Yeah, you were married to an angry beaver?
I was. Yep. Very much so.
And Kiki and Luca continues with, can't wait to see y'all in August. Yes.
August. Yeah.
Yes. We're going to have an OG55 meetup in August. We're definitely going to get more details as we get a little closer. We will be at D23. Well, the expo formerly known as D23. Now it's the fan event, right, George?
Yes.
But we will definitely be there. So, yeah, it'd be a really, really, really good time. Really good time. Let me see here. I'm kind of going through the comments. Maybe I had such a crush on him as a kid. My Nikola Tesla. Is that the Jimmy Neutron? Oh, yeah. Okay. So she had a crush on Jimmy Neutron. Jimmy Neutron. And I didn't really watch Jimmy Neutron that much, actually, to be honest. I didn't watch too much of that show.
I didn't watch the show, but I watched the shorts. Basically, that's what started him off, was the shorts. And then the movie.
Yeah, because the movie came out first, and I remember I was going to watch that because, again, I loved cartoons. So I was like, oh, this looks cool, right? The space thing, right? So I watched it. And then the first couple of episodes they came out, I remember I think there was 2 or 3, and one of them was about, like, the pants, like his gadget made the pants, like, come to life. And they're, like, all running around. But I remember the first couple of episodes weren't so great, but then after that, I think they finally found their footing and were able to make, like, really fun episodes.
Yeah.
Go Jimmy, it's Jimmy Neutron time.
We got to have a whole show where just George sings us songs.
That'd be great.
I think it'd be fantastic. Bad Thought Studio, Mr. Tony. Did you guys ever watch Avatar: The Last Airbender on Nickelodeon? Did you ever check that out, Seymour? Was that ever like something that was on your radar?
No. After like SpongeBob, I backed away from Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
I actually did too. I didn't watch The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch it on Nickelodeon, but later on, and interesting now, The Last Airbender is actually one of my favorite top like shows ever. And I went back and I watched it like 3 times back to back of all the seasons because I was so hooked on it. And so I watched it on Netflix. So, but yeah, not on Nickelodeon itself, but I did watch it when it was on Netflix.
Nice.
It was great.
Nice. Yeah, I've never seen it, but I think it was a little bit past my time because I think it was a little bit. Isn't it kind of like almost kind of? It's kind of recent, isn't it? Or no? How long? When did that come out?
Sorry. So back when I watched it on Netflix, I was still in high school or barely out of high school. So that was 2010, 2011 ish.
Yeah.
So, but I was still watch the show, bro. It's so good. Like you have great character arcs, great stories, cool battles, dude. It's awesome.
Nice.
And then they have the live action one now on Netflix as well.
Oh, that's right, and that's getting actually pretty good reception. I've been seeing a lot of a good response from that on Twitter and stuff. Interesting. Girly nerd. I also used to watch Mr. Wizard's World every morning. Oh my god, I used to love Mr. Wizard. And you guys are looking at me like, who the hell is Mr. Wizard, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say, who's Mr. Wizard? Enlighten us.
He would do like science like experiments. Like he would get on camera and he would do like science experiments. It was the most interesting thing. Check him out on YouTube. I'm sure there's clips of the show. I forgot about him. That was one of my favorite shows, Girly Nerd. Oh man, that was really, really good.
And that was Nickelodeon?
That was Nickelodeon, yeah. He would do like science experiments and stuff. You know, he would put like baking soda in like a Pepsi and like to see the effects and all this stuff, and like he would do all these science experiments. It was really fun. It was really, really fun.
Because I'm actually right now looking Mr. Wizard up, and this looks like some Bill the Nye the Science Guy shit.
Kind of. Almost. It was like pre Bill Nye. Like Bill Nye was kind of like similar to like what Mr. Wizard did, you know?
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill.
Maybe here says, damn, OG kind of hitting those notes. He's been practicing for that K-pop. Oh, yeah, dude. I am practicing for that K-pop debut. Maybe I'm going to make it look so easy. There we go. Let me see here. Kaylee. Are they Cheeto Puffs or Cheeto Crunchies, Abba?
Crunchies all the way. It's always a Crunchies. Come on, Kaylee, Crunchies.
And you rock the Cheeto pants while you eat the Crunchies. Is that a must or not?
No, it's not a must. But hey, you know what? Everybody in chat, let me know if you want me to wear the Cheeto pants on the next episode. let me know.
Oh, come on. Yeah. Yeah.
See, for me, it has to be the Puffs. I don't know why. Like, it just...
George, is that because you grab a puff and you're like, huh, I wonder how big this is compared to mine?
You comparing, George?
Oh, gosh. No, that wasn't a complete, total opposite direction I was going for, but okay.
Oh, man.
Oh, gosh.
I hope you win that competition every time, George, because those aren't that big.
Yes. Hey, OG, trust me, I make it look easy.
Oh, you make it look easy? You make it look easy? One more time. There we go. And no, and actually, I would agree with you, Eva. I'm a Cheetos crunchy guy. The puffs are really good. They're bomb. The problem with the puffs though is they just get like stuck in your teeth. Like it's
I agree.
right.
Yeah.
I also, for me too, it's not only that, but I feel, and again, they're still good. I'll eat them, right? If you're like, hey, you want some? Hell yeah. But I think too, like with the puffs, they feel really like kind of fluffy, or like there's a lot of air when you bite into it. There's no like solid crunch in it. So it's like when you have a crunch, you feel that nice solid chip, whereas a puff, it's more like kind of an airy fairy type of.
Yeah.
bite.
Airy fairy, yeah. Airy fairy.
The airy fairy.
What about the flaming hot ones?
See, now the flaming hot, yes, I love the flaming hot Cheetos
Yes.
crunch. Oh, man, yeah.
So Seymour, you're a spice guy. You like spicy food?
If you want to know more about the Cheetos, there's like a movie on Disney Plus about it.
Wait, what?
Okay.
Yeah,
No
it's about like the janitor who worked at the place that made Cheetos, and he was Mexican, and he
course
gave
he's
that
Mexican.
idea, and they hired him, and he became part of the company.
What?
That's crazy. Okay.
Eva, okay, so this is what we're gonna do, right? You're gonna rock your Cheeto pants, and we're gonna have the Cheeto movie watch party on OG55.
Let's actually do it. No, here's it. I'll have my Cheeto pants and my shirt that I had the last time.
The
And my
Chester
Cheetos
Cheeto.
next. Yeah, so I'll have
Perfect.
both.
Perfect. We're doing it. Kaylee here says, "quote You ate my enchilada." End quote.
Of course. The quotes from Drake and Josh. That actually, yes, you ate my enchilada. That was that's a good quote.
And is that how he said it with the
Enchilada.
Enchilada. And quote, "Sorry doesn't sweeten my tea." End quote. Those are some pretty good quotes. I don't know. I never watched the show, but those are fantastic quotes.
The only quote sorry, just to say
Yeah.
the only quote I can remember is when like they're both always like Megan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And ClickNet here says you guys should do a live discussion on Kids WB, Fox Kids, ABC Kids, all things Saturday morning. That is a great idea.
I'm
Really good
all
idea.
for it. I'm all for it.
Yep, exactly. I'm down. Let's do it. Kaylee here says we're not Caucasian. We're just a couple of white guys.
It's me and OG.
Yeah, exactly. I'm from Caucasia. I'm from,
Yes. Yes.
oh man, that's hilarious. That is really, really good. I love that. That's a Drake and Josh quote. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
They could still get away with some of that stuff back in the day. Can't do it now.
Yeah, not anymore. Kiki and Luca, 90s were great. I agree. I was in my prime. All downhill from there. Funny.
Okay, so real quick, I actually want to kind of talk about this if you guys are
Sure,
cool with
sure.
that. So what do you guys think that is? Do you guys think that's just our nostalgia glasses we have on, or do you literally think the creativity back in the 90s or 80s were better just with stories and characters than what they can come up with today?
Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
No, I think it was absolutely better. You watch these cartoons, you watch Animaniacs, you watch like DuckTales, and these shows were just better shows, in my opinion.
And I think not even just with the shows, but just the time era. I felt like after the 90s, when we get into the early 2000s, we got into the notion like with 9/11 and what have you. And then like prior to the 90s, like going all the way back, like dealing with, world wars, the Great Depression and what have you, stuff like that. I felt like the 90s were the sweet spot for film, for television, for animation. I don't know. It was just something about the 90s. And I actually just got done telling my mom that right before I came on the show. I was like, I'm so glad that you had me in the early 90s. Because it was like, I grew up at the most kick-ass best time ever.
Yeah, exactly. And Seymour, before I move on to you real quick, but yeah, you're right because my mom always tells me she's like, man, you remember all those cool movies we used to go see? The 90s had such the best like like movies, cartoon movies, everything was so great. But to your point, George. But yes, Seymour, how about you? What do you think?
Yeah, the '90s were the best. I feel like now they're very careful in how they write. They don't want to offend anyone. And in the '90s, they would push the boundaries of what is good for a kids show, or push a little bit to the adults. Like Ren and Stimpy, you're not going to get those type of TV shows.
No,
No.
not at all.
on
Not at
Nickelodeon.
all.
Maybe on Netflix, but not on Nickelodeon anymore.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad. I love those old '90s cartoons. The '90s they really the '90s was a really cool time for animation because they really did, like, all these studios were kind of pushing the boundaries, like, because it was kind of a stigma like before the '90s. I think that animation really was just for kids,
Right.
And I think once the '90s hit and we started getting things like like The Simpsons and even some of these animated movies from like Disney, like Lion King, dealt with a lot of like mature stuff, like the death of Mufasa, the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These stuff it started to change the perspective of animation, and then now we're kind of we're falling back into it being a kids thing.
Yeah, even like Family Guy, right? It was very raunchy when it first came out, and then it got canceled, and then the revival came back, and they weren't as that good as the classic shows.
And I think also, too, kids today, they don't even really sit down and focus on anything that they're watching. They'll have it playing in the background, but they're on their phones or they're on their iPads or they're on their gaming systems or whatever. They don't actually sit down and watch it. And I feel like when you take a kid to a movie or you sit down and watch a television show, it's like they don't sit down and really pay attention to like what's going on around them, and it's a shame, really.
Yeah, I think that is like, especially now with TikTok and everything, I think that really comes from like the stimulus of someone always needed to have something like a media or whatever to quick entertainment, right? You watch something for like 10 seconds or 20 seconds, and then next thing 20 seconds, next thing 15 seconds, and that attention span doesn't like build so you can sit down and pay attention to something for a long time. So
It's the instant gratification generation.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna sound like such a get off my lawn, like old fogey, but like it kind of is, and like when I was a kid, like we didn't have like cartoons like at our fingertips, right? Like I couldn't just go on my phone or whatever and just watch a cartoon. Like I had to wait until either after school or Saturday morning. So there was like that anticipation, but I think there's something to be said about that where it feels more special when you wait for something, and kids don't have that anymore. They can watch a cartoon anytime. They can watch it in class. They can watch, and it doesn't feel the same. That there was a magic waking up on Saturday morning and having all these cartoons. It's not the same.
Well, I think, and also going off the comments here, to point that from maybe it's there's so many other forms of entertainment. YouTube's a big one. I mean, honestly, all my like 90% of my watching besides Disney Plus is YouTube. I'm always watching stuff on YouTube and or if like Facebook Reels or whatever. So kids have a lot more options nowadays for where they get their entertainment from.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, because it's not just like when I was a kid, like it was just what was on TV.
Exactly.
Yep. And like what maybe saying like, it's like video games and like YouTube. I mean, YouTube is really pulling away a lot of Hollywood's audience, so it's a different time. It's a different time.
That's wild.
Now maybe he's asking, and I don't know the answer to this. Maybe Seymour, is Paw Patrol, is that Nickelodeon?
They own the rights to do the movies, but it's owned by a Canadian company. The IP of it, Spin Master Entertainment. I was thinking about buying their stock one time, but I didn't do it.
But the show is on Nickelodeon, though, right? Because I could have sworn it. Okay.
But
Yeah,
they
so
don't own
They
the-
just don't own. They just don't own the full rights. Sort of like how with Under the Umbrella Tree, it was
Right.
made from a Canadian company, but it was on the Disney Channel.
It's like it's Sonic too, right? Paramount
Sonic?
they own the rights to the film, but not to the IP.
Gotcha.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so Sonic is still owned by Sega, but Paramount has the kind of license, I guess, or whatever, to Sonic for the movies, and now the new show for Knuckles coming out.
Yeah, and also Bluey on Disney Plus. Like Disney has the right to air that show, but they don't own the show. I think it's like an Australian studio.
It
or
is.
something. Is it?
Yeah, it is, and I know because my wife's Australian. So
Hey, I actually heard it's a pretty well written show. It's kind of funny. Let me see here. Okay, Slimer. I remember Danger Mouse. Thank you. See, Slimer and I were like, same generation. Danger Mouse and Danger Mouse. Speaking of like content from like other countries and stuff, I don't think that was an American cartoon either. I think that was something from like the UK, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had that vibe for sure.
Oh, and really quick to go back to Kaylee's comment. Yes, I feel like a lot of my Georgisms came from quotes from Josh Peck. But I get, for anyone who doesn't know what a Georgism is basically my own interpretation of things. For instance, like one of my famous phrases is "I'd be shocked to high heaven and low hell." Like that's a Georgism.
There you go. We got to publish a book, a coffee table book of all the Georgisms.
Yeah, it's funny because Kaylee says the same thing. She's like, "You're gonna have to start writing these down because this is."
I'm telling you, man, and we can call it "Balls to the Wall."
That's
just
it.
Nice little book of all your Georgisms.
Yes.
I think it'd be great. Lovelow here says, "Do you guys watch Cat Dog?" I remember watching some re-airings. What about you, Ebba? You were shaking your head. You were a pretty big Cat Dog fan, or
Cat Dog. Oh
Cat
yeah,
Dog.
dude. Yeah, dude. I loved it. And again, it's one of those shows where it's like, and I loved was like their house. It was like, what was it half a fish and like was it a house or a dog bone or something, right?
It was a half fish, half dog bone.
Dog bone. Yeah, it was just a cool show, and it's like to think of like, okay, cat and a dog just put together. I was like, what the fuck? But no, it's such a good show, and also again the kind of intros to these shows, right? I love the kind of country twang they gave like the intro to the show. It's weird because I don't like country, but I love that country twang they gave.
Okay, all right. You talked me into it. Okay, I'm gonna try to do it because I was a huge fan of not just the show, but I loved the intro theme song.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay, so I'm gonna try this now. Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can do this. I'm gonna try to get that country twang too. Okay.
Are you auditioning for a K-pop group too, George?
Yes. Okay. Let me see if I got this. Okay. One fine day, with a woof and a purr, a baby was born and it caused a little stir. No blue bug, no three-eyed frog, just a feline, canine, little cat dog, cat dog, cat dog. Alone in the world was a little cat dog.
Yeah, look at that. I think that deserves one of these.
Nick.
There you go.
Nickelodeon.
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
One more time, George. Go.
One more time. I can do. Here, I'll do the second verse. Out on the road or back in town, all the little critters could put cat dog down. Trying to be brothers, trying to get along, trying to walk together, trying to sing this song. Cat dog. Cat dog.
Oh wow.
Alone in the world with a little cat dog. Bow, 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 bow.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, hell yes,
That
Brings me
George.
back.
That was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The Girly Nerd. And I think after the Girly Nerd, we're going to head out today, everybody. But we will be back again with another live. The next live we do will be a more normal OG55 live. It'll be like Ask Us Anything, a lot of Disney.
But if you guys also want to see types of live shows like this where I forget who mentioned it, but like the talk about like different like Saturday mornings, like the Disney afternoon or the Kids WB, Fox Kids and all that. You guys want to see that? We're definitely down for it too.
Yeah, well, Girly Nerd right here says you should also do a Nick at Night show. So there we go.
Alrighty.
I'm down for it. I'm absolutely down for it. So let's go ahead and real quick before we go, Maybe says remind me to ask you to do that one day when you're drunk. Hey, maybe when we have the OG55 meetup, we're gonna get George drunk and we're gonna hold him to this.
Yes. If you guys thought I'm entertaining sober, wait till you see me drunk.
I'm telling you. I saw this guy drunk at Tam O'Shanter's last month off of one beer. I don't know what happened, George. Did you not eat that day?
I don't know. That was the first thing I ate, so that probably I chugged that beer with an empty stomach. So
that was so. I've never seen this guy that drunk before.
He hasn't, because it was like I just couldn't stop laughing. Like no matter what, like I was laughing at every little thing, and then I said to OG, I said, "You okay back there?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm good."
I was like, "Wow, we might have to take this guy to the hospital." It was George. It was kind of ludicrous, man.
Luda, relax and take notes while I put you up on game.
What was funny is I actually got that one, but I missed the freaking easy. It's like,
yeah. See, one more easy before we go.
One more easy.
There we go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So everybody, I want to thank you so much for joining this live show, OG55 Live. I want to thank my fantastic panel, Seymour Duck, his first live show ever. Seymour, you were fantastic, brother. We love having you on.
I had a blast.
Yeah, it's always a good time. Always a good time. And I want to thank everybody in the chat. Maybe Kaylee, Lovelo. Let me see. I always forget. Girly Nerd, Kiki and Luca, Michael Eva, Rick Nick, Candy Camper, Rogue Attraction, Cliffix. And again, check out Cliffix on YouTube. He does phenomenal work. And Slimer, of course, our boy Slimer. So everybody in the chat, thank you all so much for watching this episode of OG55 Live. We'll be back with another episode very, very soon. Thank you all so much. And as always, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye-bye, everybody.
세상이 누구에게나 공평하게 추악해.